All right, good evening, everyone, and welcome to Green White Checker TV. I don't know how it's happened, but we are already here at the regular season finale at Talladega Superspeedway. So that means tonight will be race number 8 of the season, and then after tonight we'll be resetting the top 12 in points, and they'll go for the 4 race playoff for the championship. And again, I mean it's again, I feel like I blinked and we're right back to it. So hope you're all having a wonderful evening tonight. And so, yeah, looking at the numbers here, you see on the side there, you got 75 laps tonight. As always, one faster pair, 3 green white checkered attempts. And again, top 12 is going to be the goal for these drivers. Drivers that are fairly safe, I'm going to say right off the bat, are going to be Gabe Butler in the 88, Vicente Guerrero in the 14. Bud Steele, I think, is looking pretty solid as well. Zach Perry, Dean Wilkinson are top 5. And then you've got Eric Laurie, Rick Sanchez, Jason Bogart, Nick Wing, Dude Conrad are top 10. Then things get a little closer on that 11th spot on back. Jim Brooks is in 11th. Quabi Brooks 12th at 136 and 133 and 131 respectively. Jack Wall's about 8 points behind them. And then it's a bigger gap back to Tom Dixon, Ed DeBoer there, Adam Kilday, and Kevin Freeze. So we'll have to keep an eye and see, can anybody make some jumps. And again, there is one drop week, so it'll be the best 7 of the 8 starts. So we'll have to see if anything changes on the championship side of things and see where it all shakes out. Right now you see Dean right there on track, but we don't want to show any spoilers. He might be doing some special on his qualifying lap. We don't want to spoiler that one, so we'll go top secret and not show what he's up to there. But yeah, so again, that is our standings after this week. And then, yeah, we'll be resetting this thing coming up after tonight. And then also coming up after tonight, we're back on Tuesday nights, the Open Wheel IndyCar Oval Series, kicking it off at Homestead Miami Speedway. It's had a little bit of an off break over there. They're going to run over the rest of this year, starting off into 2025. And it's going to be a lot of fun, a lot of new entries, and it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm really looking forward to that one. Matt Wagner, Craig Forsyth, they've been putting a ton of time and effort on getting everything set up, I's dotted, T's crossed. Also working with Jim Herrick, 40 Race, where it's going to be fun to have them back on board helping out with the series. So, yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. Good evening, Mr. Lee. Yeah, we'll be keeping an eye on Jason and Zach. I say right now, I think both have put a lap down time. I see Jason has a lap in, looking for Zach. No lap yet for Zach. We'll see. We'll keep an eye and see what he does. But again, obviously, the strategy is going to be coming into play on qualify, not qualify, to kind of base your grid. And yeah, just whether or not you want to ride in the back, play it safe. Do you want to get aggressive? And of course, the other thing we'll be watching is fuel mileage. Hearing it could be close. It might be on the 2-stop window. So hopefully we don't get one of those fuel mileage races right off the kick. That's kind of the hope, is that it'll just kind of do a normal outright run through. So we'll definitely keep an eye on that as the season progresses. But yeah, we'll watch and see how things go there. And then momentarily, a Matt Wagner should appear in just a second. And yeah, I'll say we're going to get things rolling here in just another couple of seconds, while we got 2 drivers just, I think, going to squeak their laps in before the timer runs out. And I'm trying to see if did it make a change in the top spots. It did not. Okay, so we'll let this thing cycle through. And now we can pull up our starting grid for tonight's event. All right, let's pull up our starting grid for tonight's event. As I talked about not wanting to spoiler the lap times or anything like that, and I'm glad I didn't, because we were talking about Dean, and it's going to be Dean Wilkinson on the pole position here tonight. In the number 55, next to him, Robert Hooligan, 126. Then you got Dude Conrad, Vicente Guerrero, and Tom Dixon, our top 5. Then Bud Steele, Quabi Brooks, Ed DeBoer, Mike Rimkus, and Dustin Logston, our top 10. Continuing on there, you got Jason Bogart and Nick Wing, 11th and 12th. Frank Ranger Jr., Kevin Freeze, Gabe Butler. Then you got Seth Gruber, Zach Perry, Eric Laurie, Jim Brooks, and Ambrose Knable. All will be our top 20 here this evening. See the front row have gridded there. A few more drivers left to hop on here, and then we will get things underway. And I think we might have a little bit of, you might be seeing double on the Lowe's cars. So I don't think they're identical paint schemes, but they're going to look pretty similar if I'm not mistaken. I hope you're doing well, Rick. I've definitely been thinking about it. Hope recovery's going well, and we talked before. I hope you're not pushing the issue too hard, man. Because like I said, we want a quick and full recovery. No setbacks. Hopefully from you getting a little antsy to get back on track, man. But glad to see you on here, and yeah, hope you're doing well, bud. All right, we're about to see the pace car roll off. That'll get the field underway here. There you go, Dean and Robert leading the field off and get this pace lap done. And again, you'll probably see some drivers again maybe look at saving fuel right off the kick. We'll see. And say there you see the 25 machine is again looks, I believe, awful similar to the Kevin Freeze machine, or sorry, to the Robert Hooligan machine. So we'll keep an eye and see. Hopefully don't mix those guys up here too much. So I mean, I was looking at the points, Rick, and even with you being out the last couple, I mean, you're still solidly in the top 12 in points. So, I mean, I don't know what your recovery time looks like, but if you're able to hop back in next week, I think you could go for the playoffs if you're able and yeah, physically able to. But yeah, like I said, don't push the effort, and I apologize preemptively for maybe adding that temptation there too. Alright, so with that, here you're going to see the pace car about to make that left off of the racing surface. And that's going to hand it over to our front row, like we mentioned there before, the 55 and the 126. And of course, these guys' initial go is on that green flag, so we'll see in just a moment as we'll jump back to that flag. Then you see the cars in the background, and they're going to wait for that green flag to fly, and then we will be underway for a scheduled 75 laps. There you go, green flag is out. Last regular season race before we hit the playoffs as we get back to green here. Dean Wilkinson going to lead the way. So right now it's all about who's going to get the push, and we always talk about the shorter lane is the better lane to start with, but then it's always that second lane usually gets a great push down the back, but it won't be enough though. Robert cannot clear Dean there in the 55, so they'll stay side by side in that number 55 and the 126. See the 53 there. I think he's jumping up top to get towards the back, and again, I think we'll watch fuel mileage. I'm curious to see, is it going to be no problems on a two-stopper? Is everybody going to have to do 3? We'll have to wait and see as the run goes on. Of course, if a yellow comes out, we'll shake all of that up and we'll get some more answers. But good to see you, Mr. Jamie. Say fashion late is always okay. We know you're a man of very nice fashion. Hopping on board there with Dean for just a second, but as I did that, Robert's got the big push down the back. Can he clear this time? Yes, he does. Just clears. Now I'll jump off the back of Robert Hooligan, get a good view of what he sees out his mirror there. Oh, that was close. Robert left the middle open. Dean, I think, was going to take it, and I think rolled out of it to avoid a wreck there, but that was a little too close for comfort on my viewpoint there. But luckily, no issues. Everybody able to continue on, but those are those close calls, and it's never too early to root Bud Steele on for the win. He sits right now in the 3rd to 4th spot, depending on how that push is going. And right now he is pushed, I think, Vicente clear. No, not quite clear. But Vince's going to try to, so you see on the corner there, you got Vince service and repair. So he's going to want to keep that 14 car up front, showing off the logo on the hood as well. I'll say Vince, another one of those drivers that I believe is safely in for a playoff spot after tonight. Start to see that third line form here, Matt. You got Dustin Logston. He's popped up there. And again, apologies for the card numbers. That 904 on the ticker is the 81. Say a certain admin name. Myself may or may not have updated the number in time, but Dustin is there. He's got the right custom number, and they're going to go for that third lane with that 81, the 88, and the 25. And then if there's a third lane, you know Seth Groover's going to want to jump up there as well. And I saw Eric Laurie join the mix. So these guys said, you know what? Let's go 3 wide here, and they're going to do it about 4 rows deep, it looks like here.
I'm just glad I'm not down there.
This is a track this is one of the few tracks I feel comfortable running 3 wide at, as Dean takes the point back to the bottom. Well, you know what we can do, Matt? Now that these guys are running on that 3 wide here, we're going to get some good shots here. So let's go ahead and go to our fun cameras here that we get to play with. Let's watch these guys blow by.
Just Seth Groover in the middle. Well, he didn't have any friends. Now he's got friends.
Looks like the 3 wide settled in pretty quick there, Matt. They're back to double file. Yeah, and you're right. Seth now leading the middle lane and kind of leading the boot-knocker crowd there as well. Like I said, Dustin Logston. Not sure if he's a formal boot-knocker or not, but I think he is working with them tonight. But as soon as I say that, though, here go Gabe and Kevin. They're going to jump to the top there, pick Eric up along with them. But I don't think Eric's quite close enough. And you see Tom Dixon, he saw the momentum shift. He wanted to jump. But right now, the one guy that's not really gone to the third lane or even the outside lane of that team is that number 8 of Dude Conrad. Dude's just kind of chilling out right now, I feel like, in that number 8 Yorkville Chevy. So we'll be curious to see at what point does Dude kind of drop the hammer and get up there in that 8 car. But right now, he looks pretty comfortable as that third lane, though, as we were talking about him. They're just nosing ahead, but again, not quite enough here as we're back 3 by 3 there. Eric Laurie, and speak of, there's Dude here. He said, all right, let me go hop back up there with my teammates.
Still 3 wide. Jesus almighty.
A little bit of, you can see right there, the 25 and the 071 Eric Laurie, they were a little off center with each other there for a moment. Got themselves squared back away, but yeah, right now you see, I mean, you got 3 cars in the middle lane, 4 on the outside, and then pretty much the rest of the train down on the inside line. But, oh man, it is not for a lack of effort. These guys are going after here. Let's hop on board here. Let's jump on that roof of Dude Conrad because he's probably got a pretty fun view of everything going on right now. I mean, you can see, Matt, these things aren't just locked in and happy. I mean, these things are moving around a fair bit. You see Gabe there. able to clear the middle lane, and now the bottom lane, he's going to drop top to bottom there. And unfortunately, that's probably going to make life a little tougher for Kevin. But look at Seth Groover. He said, you know what? I want Kevin to push me now. But again, we have to watch the temperatures too, Matt, because Kevin had been pushing Gabe that whole time as he and Vince there just catch the apron a teeny bit. And now there's to go Seth. He's going to go back to the middle lane. I say for Kevin, though, he'd been pushing Gabe so long, he probably wanted to keep that clean air on the nose for his car a little bit just to get those water and oil temps down a tiny bit.
Sitting there thinking, like, why would... Okay. I was kind of like confused why Seth would go to the top lane right there. As...
Yeah, I mean, he obviously has said he'd drop back down now, but the other guy I say we talked about a lot lately, or not lately, recently last week, that 04 car, Ambrose Kniebel, I say he's now worked his way back up there. He's started in 20th spot. He's up into the top 10 now, and I like where he is. And again, we talked about if fuel's a potential here. He's in a nice little spot here. He's got Bud Steele in front of him. He's got Robert Hooligan behind him. And so he can just, and you see, he's got just a little gap in between himself. You see, look at Gabe here. He's actually going to pick his teammates up on that third lane. Usually, say I'm pretty content to just ride.
We got a massive check up in the back.
Yeah, I think someone may have just got squished on the wall there. Again, we talked about one thing we haven't mentioned right now is these cars are not symmetrical, Matt. So that rear end will stick out a little bit, and it can suck you up into that wall. And then you kind of get stuck on it too. So I think that may have been what we just saw. You kind of just saw that last little part of it there. And you can see it definitely affected Dude and Eric Laurie. It's also good, Matt, to see Frank Ranger back on track in that number 17. Oh, big trouble. Oh, Vince there.
Zach Perry just snuck through on the bottom of the racetrack.
Oh, and that car is not going to get up back over on its lid, so that guy is going to have to take a tow. Ambrose, I commentator's Kirsty, bud. I am so sorry. All right, but we got to go look and see what exactly happened. 'Cause I don't think it was anything that Ambrose did. I think he was just wrong place, wrong time. So we're going to focus on Vince here. He's in the 14, the second car on the bottom. Oh, actually, no, it was way earlier. These guys were kind of just fighting for the same real estate, really, Maz. The best way I can describe. You see these guys 3x3, and let's get a better look. So right here, you can see you've got you feel like you've got all this room in the world, but they all want to be as low as they can be. And so it just, I mean, I'm watch between Dean and Kevin here. And it's hard to say. I mean, maybe one came up a little bit, the other came down a little bit. I really can't tell. And then, yeah, unfortunately, so you can see now other cars getting kind of stuck together. And then right there, Dean gets into the right rear of Vince. Nothing Vince can do. Oh, Kevin Freeze actually gets a pretty solid shot as well. Dean's going to get looped around as well. However, unfortunately, and actually Bud Steele as well. So actually some pretty good contact for a number of cars. And then, yeah, unfortunately, Ambrose going for the Tony Hawk wall grinds there, Matt. And, yeah, not what they were hoping for here early on. You see Tom Dixon there, really good job. He locks it down, gets straight to the bottom. And then, yeah, and then you see this is where Ambrose just, the car never hooked enough to flip all the way back over. And so that's what, unfortunately, forced him to take that tow, which will likely put him down that lap in the 04. What we'll do is bring the whole field down to pit road, and yeah, it looks like Ambrose not rolling off yet, so tow's still underway here. So this will take out the fuel mileage question now, Matt. These guys can make it from here, no problem, on 2 stops. And like I said, too, we're going to have to look at some of the damage repairs. We mentioned, unfortunately, like I said, with Bud Steele there. Yeah, you can see that nose is pretty crunched there. So he's going to, it looks like he's opting to try to save some damage there. Vince, though, actually, I think Vince is going to try to see if he can get some damage repairs done as well. You can see right now the front clip kind of, they found it, got it back on real quick, but it's going to probably take a little bit more time to get that squared away. So we got a moment. We'll step away, show off our wonderful cameras from Whiplash SimCam. So stay tuned. We'll be right back. All right, lights are off of the pace car. We did have some lengthy stops, Matt. Bud Steele, one of those, was sitting at about the minute and 10 mark. Car's looking pretty good, I must say. So I think he's done a really good job of, or his crew, I guess in this case, his virtual crew, getting damages repaired. Dean Wilkinson, car looks really good as well. I had a handful of drivers top off, so I'm not sure what their pit stop times were anymore. Kevin Freeze is one of those that did top off. Not sure if fast repair or not. Vicente Guerrero, he had a very long pit stop. And so he's catching him now, but almost 2 minutes. But I don't know if it's a fast pair or not, but that car, same thing, looks good. So we'll have to wait and see on that one. And we can also add that Ambrose is back out on track. Unfortunately, 2 laps down, but the only car a lap or more down. So there is still obviously some chances for him to get those laps back. Right now, for me, Matt, if I'm in that situation like Ambrose is, you just got to stay in the back and just kind of stay in the drafts, but don't put yourself in harm's way and just try to see what you can do. See if you can get some spots back up there. But with that, Matt, we're about to get back to green. You got a couple boot knockers on that front row. Up to third now is Mike Rimkus in that number 79 machine. I really like the Monster Juice paint scheme he's got there. That's a one I don't think I've seen before, and I like the way it looks with the colors and the details. So we'll keep an eye on him as well. But Matt, we're back to go here. Green, lap 15 of 75. Again, fuel out of question now. It should be 2 stops, no drama to the end. As we get back underway here, we'll watch the 8 and 88, see if they can get latched on. Right now, they stay side by side. You heard right there, actually, on the onboard there, I think Gabe may have just tacked out a little bit, waited a little too late to shift, hit the rev limiter, hit the chip, and that cost him some momentum. And beneficiary of that's going to be his teammate, actually, Dude Conrad, who's going to slot in right in front of him. That's one of those things where you make that mistake once, and you're going to learn from it pretty quick, because late in the race, that could cost you a chance at the win. So, yeah, again, these are just little things that you may not think about all the time, and like I said, just sounded like it just hit that rev limiter just a teeny bit, but that was enough to cost momentum, and that's let Robert Hooligan here. He's going to take the point at the line with help from that 32 of Seth Gruber. Oh, man, it was close. He's got to come all the way down. There we go.
There we go.
That was tight.
I think dude cut him a break there.
We've seen a couple of those recently, this restart and then one before, but look at the big push Eric Lorry's given Seth Groovy here. Seth, again, won't clear, but he's going to have a nose ahead in ring 3. But again, though, the short distance always going to prevail through the turns, and then we'll see if that momentum shift comes back to the outside. And right now we do still have all the field locked on together. You see Ambrose there. He's working that second lane right behind Bud Steele. He's not listening to me, Matt. He's in the thick of it again, and I don't know if I want him to be there if anything happens.
No, he's not. Right now, yeah, if, like I said, I totally agree with you. If I was Ambrose, I would be in the back. I would be true, but the thing is, you don't want to lose the draft. The risk of
you're right.
These guys checking up and everything like that, that's the risk you take for staying in the back. Everybody could have a bobbable or anything like that, and then you're going to go even more laps down, and it's going to be even more tougher.
Yeah, and that's a good point, Matt. There is that big risk versus reward on trying to stay towards the front or laying back. Like, you lay in the back, you're like, okay, it's safer. I'll have time to react if there's an incident. However, if there's something that happens that the cars stay pointing in the right direction, iRacing's like, nah, that wasn't a crash. They don't throw a yellow. That can cost you the chance of the win or going up front, just because of the fact that, yeah, you lose the draft and you don't have the time or the numbers to get back up there. So there's risks up front with their aggressive racing, trying to control the lead, and there's risks up and back with also just mistakes happening, or like we said, just losing the draft. But Bud Steele, though, he's going to try to give that number 25 a nice shove here. So we'll hop on board that America's Navy Ford Mustang. You can see that he's gotten Kevin to the side of Eric Lorry, but not quite enough yet. And again, you also wonder if there's any lingering damage on the 6 car. Is he able to maybe suck up as well as he was prior to the contact?
Okay, did I hear you correctly? Kevin did take a fast repairers.
I'm not sure, truthfully. I say I'm not sure for him. I'm not sure for Bud, and for Vince, truthfully too, because they all had lengthy pit stops, but their cars look so clean. It just seems like there's no way that those cars could be fixed up that well. But again, I mean, I don't know for this build how the repairs go. Oh, got one disappear there, Seth
Oh,
back. That's one of the scariest things in sim racing
yeah.
is when a car in the middle lane in the front of the pack has a blink. You get very nervous if you're around him, behind him, wherever it may be. But we are 3 wide, about 4 rows deep as Seth and Robert, they're right on each other's door. But while they did that, Kevin's got a big push from Bud Steele. Can Kevin clear? Yes, he'll get down to the middle. And we'll see. I think he's going to stay there. And you're not seeing double. We got 2 Lowe's Power of Pride car now on that front row, Matt.
I think Ambrose said, "Screw this! I'm going to the back."
I'm
It's a
all
wise
for
move,
it,
my
Ambrose.
friend. Wise move, my friend.
But now he's got to make sure.
Don't lose the draft.
Yes.
Don't lose the draft.
Oh,
I'm
another
rooting
bubble.
on you, man.
I think he's going to be safe.
Yeah, I think he's all right.
And this is a track, and that's the other thing to mention, Matt, is there are tracks where you can kind of drop to the apron and even still hold pretty good pace on that apron.
Oh,
But
no.
Daytona, not so much. Is he falling back too far?
He's going back the wrong way.
Well, let's see if maybe I say if they have just a little checkup, it could pull him back in. We'll watch lap times this next time around. What he does, actually, I think he's getting a friend there. I'm watching Frank Ranger. I think Frank's dropping anchor to pick him up.
Oh,
That's a kind teammate.
Yeah.
And also, like I was mentioning too, glad to see Frank back. He's had some internet outages lately. Hasn't been able to make these races. So, yeah, good to see Frank back as well in that number 17 car.
What a boy. What a teammate.
But now they got to make sure that they both don't fall too far back because he dropped a fair bit back off of Dean to pull up to Ambrose. However, I'm watching the timing and scoring, and he is... Yeah, I think they're going to be okay. But yeah, that is the risk, like you said, Matt, of dropping to the back there. So with that, we've got that inside line, Matt. We got 3 very, very patriotic cars on that row. A lot of red, white, and blue there with the Lowe's Power of Pride cars. Got the Navy car, saying they're taking those first 3 spots on the inside line. On the top side, you got three primarily black cars on the outside with that 32 McDonald's car. You got the, I say, bias but love the green white checkered TV by Tom Dixon, and then of course Vince's service and repair car. And then Gabe said, you know what, I want to add my name to that list. He's going to jump up top there. He's got help from dude Conrad. They're going to try to get to the front.
Oh, my screen went off a little bit. Yeah, that third lane there, they're not much help. I see at the top. I see.
Here they come.
Up there.
But look at I saw Eric Laurie. He jumped from bottom to middle. Give him a second. I think he's going to jump all the way to the top here. I think he's just waiting for that momentum to build up here. And we'll watch. Let's watch from Dustin Logston here. Let's hop on board. And yeah, there goes Eric. Right to the third lane. Find those teammates again. And I mean, we've seen that third lane has been working here, especially with, it seems like those are the guys that have been running the third lane most of the night. Everybody else has been kind of bottom middle feeders, whereas I feel like the boot knockers have been definitely trying to, oh my goodness, try to test the third lane there, as that was really close with Tom Dixon and Bud Steele there entering the trial pole.
Is that your cat or mine?
That was mine. He's looking like he wants to join the party here. So you might hear a third broadcaster here in just a moment.
I already have one. She's laying on my lap.
Yeah, that's where mine's about to head over, it looks like. But and just like we talked about, Matt, though, you saw Gabe, he's able to work that third lane from help with Dude and Eric, get to the middle, and now he's able to lead that outside, or sorry, the middle lane outside of his teammate Kevin Freeze. And again, though, these guys all pitting around that lap 12-13 mark. So based on the numbers, they should be able to get to almost, I'm going to say, close to lap 30. We'll say what, maybe 38, maybe just touching 40. But like I said, I think these guys will, like I said, definitely, oh my goodness, 2 stops though, as Gabe made the big move to the inside lane there, and a little bobble as he did. I think Seth gave him a little extra shot there, and it definitely looked like that caught their attention. It caught mine for sure. I say it's great here. This view off the back of Gabe's car, Matt, because you can see Kevin Freeze, and you can just see the little tiny adjustments Kevin's having to make on the wheel there. So you can never hold it quite perfectly straight. You're always having to just move a little left, a little right, try to stay locked on. And that's where we talk about too. The leading car is just as critical as the following car, because the more steady Gabe can hold the line, the steadier Kevin can hold the line. And when you can see right there, they got a little off center. You saw that back and forth, back and forth. That's where things get a little dicey. And again, these are teammates that run with each other week in and week out. And say it's not something that's just easy that you can do with your eyes closed. As I think Gabe maybe saw enough there. He's dropping to the apron here. We saw Ambrose Knievel do that earlier. He's going to drop low. He's going to hopefully find someone to slot in. And yeah, looks like Jason Bogart's going to cut him some slack there and let him on in. So, it's on the 17.
Oh boy.
He's okay. He just caught the wall a little bit. Looks like he's okay. I think he was reacting to what he saw up ahead of him, and sometimes you just kind of lose a little bit of everything going on there, and I've definitely done that my fair share as well.
Oh boy.
You know who I haven't got to shout out much, Matt, and I've seen him in the chat? We haven't given any love to Zach Perry in that number 76 machine. He right now is in that top 10 in 9th, right behind Mike Rimkus, who we just chatted about a little earlier. And then where's that teammate of his, Jason Bogart? There he is in that 17 machine, as he right now sits just outside the top 10 in 12th. But again, though, I think they're just I think they're in cruise control here. They're not really ready to kind of make any noise yet, but we'll definitely be keeping an eye on them over the course of this thing.
I see everybody's really trying to form single file here.
Yeah, there's a few still running that second line. I've been watching Gabe too. He's been kind of just, like I said, we saw him drop back, but now he's kind of just, I'm not going to say side drafting, but he's just running that middle lane, not tight, but you know what I mean, just kind of running a little tighter. And it's been working pretty well. I see Vince there. I think he saw what Gabe was doing. He said, yeah, let me be a part of this here too. He's going to try to jump along with them. And so right now they're kind of running the middle lane where we see everybody else is almost running the third lane and then drifting it into the turns a little lower. So kind of interesting to see the different lines being made there. Oh, Ambrose up against the wall.
Ambrose.
He's going to be okay. Again, now it's just, and I think he'll be okay. I think he's caught the drafted Dean still, so I think he should be safe. But again, those are those little mistakes we talked about, Matt, that could cost you the draft. So, but yeah, he's able to, I think he's going to be able to pull back up on Dean here. It once again, though, could be close. We'll see. Maybe Frank has to try to drop and pick him back up or not. But we'll watch it. But right now it's looking good. But while we looked back over at that, Matt, here comes Dustin Logston. He's got a great run on that third lane. He's got Vince. He's got Gabe. And he has, at the moment, the lead, but cannot clear entering 3.
How about that nerdy bunch?
Say if there's a car you're rooting for, it's going to be that nerd machine in that 81.
Yes, it is. Got a whole bunch of them coming up Tuesday night, which I'm very grateful for.
Yeah, no, it's going to be a lot of fun. Like I said, I'm very excited for the Tuesday IndyCar Oval Series coming back. As once again, you saw Seth there disappear for a little bit. Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. Like I said, you and Craig have put a ton of work out. Look at Seth, though. Oh, my goodness.
Squeeze.
Look at Dustin. Dustin was trying to still find a way around the outside of him. I don't think he was a fan of that.
I don't think so either. I don't think he was really happy about that. But
and it didn't help. Unfortunately, it didn't help either of their momentum there.
Yeah, they're losing a bunch of spots now.
Yeah, that middle lane's like, don't mind if we do here. He's going to have to slot back in middle. No, he can't. I don't know if he can or not. Dude Conrad was about to fill the gap. Or sorry, no, Vicente Guerrero, I apologize, about to fill that gap. And yeah, say because Dude Conrad's trying to take the point there as we're just mentioning him. But look at Gabe, though. He's going to jump to the outside of his teammates there. Not something I would have expected to see there. Usually we see them staying pretty lockstep with each other, but I think they're just having fun right now.
How are we doing on fuel, Gaio?
We've got probably another, I'm going to say another minimum 5 laps that they can go on fuel. Oh my goodness! There, I don't know if you saw
Guys
that
are
Bud Steele
killing
Eric Laurie. That was close. But yeah, I'm gonna say probably about at least 5 more laps here. Like I said, I think they can get into the upper 30s. Oh my
Whoa,
goodness, these
got him.
guys! They are making some moves right now. You saw it right in front of Tom Dixon there. Gabe had a little bobble. I think maybe he and Dude had a little bump that didn't quite go to plan. But these guys are not riding right now, Matt. They are going
No,
after. Like I said,
they're not.
I think they're.
What is Gabe doing?
I think Gabe's just having fun tonight. He said, how long does it take me to get from the back to the front? So he's gonna he's got to hope that someone's gonna let him slot in here. And I think the 53 is gonna roll up top there. Also, Ed DeBoer there is gonna let him slot in here. I think Gabe's just having fun tonight. Speaking of drivers that we haven't chatted about, Ed DeBoer yet in that 12 car. I told him in the practice, I love the Grand Prix nose on that car. That's one thing I love about these Gen 4 cars, Matt, is you can put all these fun templates on the front of these noses. So we got a bunch of different manufacturers and even models of cars as well. So got the Grand Prix there in front of him. Behind him, we always love to see what Nick Wing's got in store. So he's got that 28 Havoline Chevrolet on this one around. I'd say obviously this one I created, but we got a Volkswagen in the field there in the 53 car. Just a little bit of everything. And so that's one of the things I love about these cars. You can put, if you can think of it, you can put it on there. Ambrose Kniebel, he's got a Dodge there, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. I want to say it's a Charger. And actually maybe a Camaro now that I'm sorry, it's a Camaro, I apologize, the newer gen. But I've seen some Dodges out there, and yeah, as Eric Laurie now jumped to the point there, Matt.
Now I'm thinking about Pontiac. I think the Pontiac did have their nose stuck out a little bit more, if I'm correct.
Yeah, I gotta give a big shout out to all the painters and everybody that works so hard on making these paint schemes and templates. Where, like I said, they're making decals for these cars of whatever you want, because with this car they kind of just iRacing said, here, have a blank slate, whatever you want to do with it, do it. And so basically all the painters said, all right, let's do this. And like I said, so we've got Chevys, we've got Fords, there's Dodges, Toyotas, like I said, Volkswagens are an option there. I know there's more, because I want to say I think there was some Subarus and Mitsubishi templates. Like,
oh my god,
if you could think of it, they had it. And it's just been so much fun seeing the originality from people. It's, Ambrose there drifting up a little bit to Gabe. Gabe able to move that.
I seen you make a Toyota.
Yeah, I think I've got a Toyota in there somewhere. I'm 99% sure. Oh my
god.
Goodness!
Ah, what is it? Hang on to it, Eric. Oh my god!
Yeah, I want to say I have painted a Subaru and a Mitsubishi. Yugo's. I don't know if there's a Yugo yet. We'll have to check that one out there.
No. Don't even think
about
Yugos? Don't even think about doing that.
No, Jamie, you want to see some Hyundais and some Kias on track. That's what you're looking for.
Yeah, you put a Toyota on a late model? I think that's what you did.
Yeah, I've got stuff on everything. I can't help myself, but yeah, I've seen I have seen some Kia Stingers on this body. I've seen some Hyundais. I can't remember which model it was, but yeah, there's a little bit of everything. It just makes it so much fun. Like
we are about to cross that 5 lap mark, you said?
Yeah, I think we're just about approaching that window, because they all pit around lap 12 to 13. I was hearing in the mid 20s or so. So I think let's say 24 to 26 range, maybe a little more. So again, with them pitting around 12, 13, we're on 37 now. So this would be right in the lower threshold of the window, if you will. So yeah, I do think we're going to see some pit stops shortly. Now, I just noticed, this will give us a good view for Vince's car. If I can get the passenger side, or driver's side of it, I'm sorry. I want to see the door. Yeah, look at that right here, Matt. You can see the door and the left rear, I'm sorry. That car still does have some leftover damage there, so I think he's been able to save that fast repair, but these cars they've been able to repair themselves very, very well. So I think that's been really good. And Everybody's like you talked about, Matt. Everybody's starting to single out here on the inside lane.
Yep.
Right now,
But
Bud Steele and Dean Wilkinson are the odd men out as Seth's going to
not
pull.
anymore.
There you go. We've got the train now fully on the inside line here. But
Choo choo.
you know what that means? There's going to be somebody, though, I think that's going to run an extra lap. And so I look at the guys that have been cruise control this whole run. And so to me, that's going to be a
Wing. Was
Tom,
Nick Wing in here?
Yeah, Nick Wing. Tom Dixon's been kind of cruise control. I feel like Robert Hooligan's been taking it easy too. Mike Rimkus, Zach Perry. I could see all these guys going at least one more lap. I'm sorry, but then we'll also see a little bit of that response to the leaders, and once they come in, they'll try to go. But if I'm going to try to do that extra lap, Matt, I want to start making that charge now. I don't want to wait until the leaders pit to make that big push as we just cross the halfway point. I want to start charging at least a lap ahead of time to do something to try to see if we can find a way to gain that time in the leaders. Because again, look at the timing scoring on the left side there from first place Dustin Logston to the last car in the draft there, Frank Ranger. It's 3 seconds. So any mistake that's being made, you've got such little wiggle room to be made in order to try to recover from it. So that's why that is the importance of trying to pit at the front of the field, in my opinion.
Speaking of Frank, I'm watching. He's losing time.
And while we were watching him too, unfortunately, something happened with Ambrose, and Ambrose has completely lost the draft. He's entering turn 3 now. So yeah, he's not in a good spot as well. So he's going to need some help to, one, to try to get one of his laps back, and two, just to try to stay in the draft here as well. But based on that, now him running solo, he's probably going to pit earlier than the rest because now he's got to really kind of just burn more fuel being foot to the floor. And then, yeah, like you said about Frank, unfortunately, I think he's just fallen out of that bubble. And so now he's down about, 1.2 seconds off Jim Brooks, and it's going the wrong way.
Yeah, I think he tried to go back and help Ambrose there. And yeah, that's exactly, I'm looking at the laps past. He went back and tried to help Ambrose, and he could not help Ambrose.
Any takers? Yep, we're going to have a couple. Looks like Vince is going to be one of the first on. And he is going to bring a very fast, I think, way too fast there, Tom Dixon, Dean Wilkinson, Mike Rimkus. So they're going to actually short pit a little bit. I don't see any way Tom was able to get that down to speed, but he gave it his all, but I think, just a little too hot. Yeah, it looked like it was too hot. So that's going to be a 40-second hold, unfortunately, for Tom. And then so you see Dean there hitting his pit stall. So now for them, they want to try to see if they can get at least the 3 of them, the 55, the 14, and the 79 out as close together as possible. And you can see the 55 is rolling now. And yeah, this will be okay. They'll be pretty tight proximity here. So now we go back to the leaders here. And yeah, here comes their response. And yeah, it's going to bring the chunk. Oh, Gabe Butler. Oh, contact. Big crash here on the entering pit road here. A bunch of cars involved.
Zach Perry got involved too. Oh, boy.
We've got 5 cars in there.
Yeah.
And this is going to, and we saw, Gabe was just drifting, and that had too much rear brake, in my opinion, written all over it. Robert Hooligan, that front end is all center punch. So it's going to split the field up. There's going to be a few guys that are okay. Oh, I just saw also reversing there, Jason Bogart missing his pit stall. That's going to really shake things up. But this is a really good break for these 4 because this is going to be able to give them a much cleaner entry and also not a lot of cars working together on the pit exit. So they need to hit their marks, kind of just dot their I's, dot their T's. That 53 is coming way too hot as well. Nick Wing's having troubles here. Man, I don't know if something's changed, but these guys are not having a good time. Dude Conrad. No, there's no way the 53 got in safe.
Yeah, neither your dad either.
Yeah, so just mistakes, man. We talk about that week in and week out. Just so many mistakes on pit road. And I did mention that was a really good opportunity for these guys, but unfortunately just a little too aggressive. So we'll watch. There goes the 12. Where's Nick Wing? He's still on pit road.
Yeah, he got caught speeding.
So literally of those 4, Ed DeBoer, the only one to come out safely. And now, and look at this though too, Matt. You've got Dustin Logston and Kevin Freese. They almost broke away from the field here. they're going to get caught because there's 3 cars behind them with Vince. And these are the 3 that pitted the lap before.
Yep.
Vince, Dean, and Mike here. So for Ed DeBoer here, we're going to jump on the back of him. I think he's going to be safe, but we're going to have a 6-car pack, and it's going to be a huge gap until the next set of cars.
Well, wow. That is crazy.
That's one of the craziest cycle of pit stops. So now, though, Ed's going to have to be aggressive here. He's going to have to try to steal. Actually, that's a great break for Ed there with them dropping to the middle there, or drop to the bottom, I should say. I think Ed's going to be okay. We'll have to wait and see for sure. But hopefully, he, like I said, he can just grab enough draft to build that speed back up. But there's a chance. Here, we'll hop on board here.
Go ahead.
He's 6/10 back right now, man. It's still ticking the wrong way. The leaders are catching. I believe that's going to be Tom Dixon. So that could be it could be a benefit. It could be a hindrance. Oh, no. Okay. It's ticking the right way, Matt. He's going back the right way. It is going to be tight, but Ed's going to hold on to this. So we're going to have a 6-car break. No, he's good.
Yeah, okay. Oof. Yeah, because he's going about 200 in the corner.
Yeah, no, Ed's okay here. So now here's the crazy part, Matt. Here are our leaders. You got Dustin Logston to Ed DeBoer. We got to go back 11, almost 12 seconds to this group here. Bud Steele, Gabe Butler, Seth Gruber, Frank Ranger Jr., Robert Hooligan. Another 7 seconds to the 2 teammates here with Zach Perry, Jason Bogart. And then 14 seconds to Eric Laurie, who's off by his lonesome. And then almost another 10 seconds to these 4 that got the penalties of Quaby Brooks, Duke Conrad, Jim Brooks, Nick Wing. And we mentioned Tom Dixon as well. He just got passed by the leaders there. He is now the first car, or the only car 1 lap down, as unfortunately Duty mentioned Ambrose Knebel has retired, unfortunately. So that was a very eventful, to say the least, pit stop cycle there, Matt. And I mean, I was watching the YouTube chat, and everybody's like, "What is happening right now?" And yeah, we're right there with you. We would have never expected something like that in that scale too. So the next thing we're doing, Matt, I'm watching lap times. Dustin Logston 48.04, Bud Steele 47.71. So 0.3 quicker. But again, though, they've got 12 seconds to make up.
Gabe's got left front. Yeah, right front damage.
Yeah, right front. I see the right front's some damage to it, but he's probably okay as a pusher. Gabe shouldn't be leading with that damage most likely, but he's probably a safe pusher for sure. So yeah, so these guys have to try to figure out the right balance of aggression. Again, also managing temperatures. So yeah, I mean, these guys are going to be pushing, and something that I've always talked about, Matt, is that's where mistakes happen, and that's also where cautions can start to occur. Is these guys that start to get too aggressive, saying, okay, we got to make this time back up. We're just going to shove like there's no tomorrow. And you just maybe push a little too hard, hook somebody in the wrong spot, trying to maybe push where you would have lifted normally. And yeah, this is going to be interesting now because, like I said, at this point, everybody can make it a one more stop. The window will open in about 5 laps time. But when you've got a situation like this, I think if you're the leaders, you run this thing out as far as you can, because there's no point risking bringing everybody else kind of back into the fray here. So yeah, right now, if you're Kevin and Dustin and company, how hard do you push, Matt? I mean, you can see the gaps right now between the 25 and 81. They're not locked bumpers or anything like that, which it is going the right way. I mean,
4/10 that time.
Yeah, so the aggression is working for these guys. Like I said, it's that risk versus reward, and the problem is, again, 28 to go, 11 seconds. I mean, not quite, but they've pretty much got to get about half a second a lap roughly to have a chance to get to him.
Well, that is truly a milestone to catch back up. But if I was Kevin and them, I'll just chill.
Well,
there's no reason. You know, you got 11-second lead. I mean, you can push for maybe 10 laps, but I don't see them really catching. I've been proven wrong before. I have been,
Well, I
but
mean, Kevin's definitely. I mean, he's still given some decent pushes to Dustin, but yeah, I think it's definitely not. It's what he normally would be doing. It's nothing like pushing the issue, kind of a push. Like I say, you can see they're kind of breaking apart in the turns. He'll cool off a little bit. He'll lock back on, and I mean, you can see these 6 now 7 cars with Tom Dixon tagged on with them. They're very, very well organized as well. So, and sure enough, last time by, actually, Matt, they were a tenth quicker than Bud Steele and them. So, like I said, they've got more numbers. Like I said, there's also some cars with a little bit of lingering damage in the second group as well. So, yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see as the run goes on. But right now, I mean, yeah, advantage and then some goes to these top 6 drivers that have a chance to win this race. Should we go green?
that time by, not very much. But he was 8 thousandths of a second quicker.
Yeah.
Not very much. They run about almost identical lap times.
Well, with everybody being polite with each other, Matt, it's perfect time to run through the field here. And we're going to start off with our leader there, Dustin Longston, in that number 81 machine, as he leads Kevin Freeze right behind him in the 25 Lowe's machine. He's right there. They're still working hard here. I saw a little bit of wiggles out the both of them. And then in that third spot there, Vince in the Vince Service and Repair Chevrolet. Right behind them, qualified in third, running fourth, is Dean Wilkinson in that number 55. And then we go one more spot back to, we just mentioned that Monster Juice machine there of Mike Rimkus, rounding out our top 5. Another spot back, we go to Ed DeBoer in that U.S. Army Pontiac in 6th. And then with them, again, a lap down right now. But the first car, importantly, 1 lap down, is Tom Dixon in that number 411. And now, Matt, we go back again over 10 seconds back. We get to the Navy Ford of Bud Steele there in the number 6. Behind him, the 88 of Gabe Butler in that Guinness Chevrolet. I see a couple of cars jumping around a little bit behind him. You got Seth Groover in the 32 McDonald's machine. And I think these guys are just reorganizing a little bit here, letting Robert Hooligan now jump to 10th there. I think he wants to try to help on the pushing side of things, just stay a little tighter if he can. He sits 10th. Frank Ranger will be now in 11th spot. And again, dropped a little back. Should be able to pull back up here, but again, never like to drop too far back. Then again, go another 14 seconds back now to the teammates here. Jason Bogart in that 17 machine. And then his teammate Zach Perry right behind him in that 76. And then we get to the last of the lead lap drivers here that are just on the tail end of the lead lap, because leaders are within just a couple seconds of them. You get the 53 of Quabi Brooks there in 14th. Duke Conrad behind him sitting in 15th. Then Jim Brooks in the 51 there in the 16th spot. And then, of course, last of the lead lap drivers there is Nick Wing in 17th. And then, unfortunately, he's got a lot of damage. He's off by his lonesome. And that is Eric Lord. You can see both front fenders just completely shoved in that 071. So not a lot of good aero happening for Eric here, unfortunately.
Nope, not at all. He's not having a fun time. If I was Eric, I'd probably get the damage fixed, help your teammates.
And I mean, and that said, Matt, the window is open here. We're down to 22 to go. So at this point, fuel is not an issue. Everybody can make it to the end from here. But like I said, I think you can't. So if you're the group with Bud Steele, Gabe Butler and company, you cannot short pit, because if you pit being 10 plus seconds back, you will go a lap down. And Matt, Eric listened to you. He said, I'm in my window. Matt said, take my fast repair. I'm going to go do that right now. So we'll see the 071 in. So he might be listening in here on his top secret radio. But yeah, so the leaders, they've got some options. Obviously, they can pit when they choose to. They know they're good to the end. They could short pit if they choose. The thing is, though, I don't think it's worth the risk. I think for them to settle it amongst themselves without a yellow, you run this all the way out, because there's no promise that if you pit together that you're going to come out together. And then at that point, all the advantage is going to go to the second pack, which, that said, Matt, they just gained about 0.6 of a second that last lap. Looks like another about 0.5 this last lap. The lead pack's running in the mid 48s right now. They're running 48 flats those last couple laps. So
Yeah, 20
it's
laps to it.
it's yeah. So basically, if they can average 10 or sorry, half a second a lap, they can get there. Like I said, 10 seconds over 20 laps. The numbers work. But what's going to happen is these guys are about to start hitting some really big lap times because they're about to catch the toe of that group of Quabi Brooks to Nick Wing, and that's just going to basically give them a ton of draft. And yeah, sure enough, they ran a 48.25 that last time by, and it's going to go even quicker this next time around because again, they're just getting ever closer. Just also just due to sheer numbers. But that said, though, I got to give props to this group here. They're making some big time right now. They're in the low 48s, pretty much 48 flats right now for these four here. So they're not going to give up without a fight.
No, and you shouldn't. Well, Gabe is really pushing that 6 car.
Yeah, I'm sure Gabe is putting the water oil temp at risk. I wish we'd be able to see what the gauges actually were, but unfortunately, I'll say,
Come on, iRacing.
yeah, I would love to. I would love to have accurate numbers of the push to passes, of all that stuff on the IndyCar side of things, the temperatures, fast repairs, like all of those things would be great to know, just to have all that extra info. But at the same time, I could see it also not wanting to give competition too much of an advantage, almost like NASCAR with the SMT data now. Like everybody knows everything, and so there's probably some preference of not having it. So, but yeah, Matt. Again, they did all pit at 40 to 42 range. So, based on that, these guys should be able to go to about lap 65 or so, which again, that'd be right around the 10 to go mark. So, realistically, these guys can probably go at least 9 more laps. But the car that I think I really like the position he's going to be in with this whole thing, Matt, is Ed DeBoer. He pit on lap 42, a lap later than anybody else, 2 laps later than a couple others. And he's been in this nice little spot here where he's just been able to save fuel. So his final stop should be shorter than pretty much everybody else. So I think he has a good chance of, at minimum, staying with the pack, but maybe even have a chance to leapfrog to try to be the leader of this group here. Yep. But then you got to find friends. So, I mean, you know that Dustin and Kevin, they're going to stay alongside. They're going to stay locked on with each other if they can. I think Vince is usually kind of a lone wolf, if you will, in the 14. Dean will work with anybody and everything. He loves to try to work with drivers when he can. Same thing, I'm not sure for Mike Grimm because I think he and Dean might be working together in Discord. I'm not 100% sure. And then again, he may be a lap down, but Tom Dixon, if he can get a good pit entry exit, come out with those guys, he's going to work with Dean. He is part of that TW squad. So there's a lot of options, a lot of potentials, and yeah, it's going to be fun to see. And there's the draft lap, Matt, 47.75, because they've got the toe now of those guys in front of them. And what
I can't confirm they are working together.
All right. So what I expect to see here, I don't know if I'd give up the bottom here if I'm this group of drivers. I think at this point I probably stay in the bottom lane, make these guys go around, or see maybe they'll just tag on, because again, one of their teammates here, so Dustin Loggs and Kevin Freeze, in this pack is that number 8 machine of Jude Conrad. So if they want to try to keep their teammate on the lead lap, they could just stay locked on here and just draft off of them. But again, they're probably also still trying to keep an eye on lap times. Again, they've been running great laps because of this draft here. Or do we see some team strategy where maybe they do jump up to pass, and then maybe we see the 8 jump to get in front of them to put himself, the tail end of the lead lap, in front of his teammates while putting everybody else a lap down. So there's a lot of potentials. And nope, they're just going to pit as soon as they got to him. I like this call here.
Why, Ed? Why'd you stay out?
This may not be a bad call by Ed here, and I'll tell you why here in a second. Because what Ed's going to do is he's going to tag on to his teammates that he's been working with, and now he can do something different where he's got some drivers he can work with. So this could be a make or break move for Ed. We'll have to wait and see.
I think. Yeah, they are. I can't confirm that Nick and they are teammates.
Oh, Oh no, Dean's taking tires. Everybody else is gone. Oh,
No.
that's gonna kill Dean, unfortunately. So we'll keep an eye here on Ed. And yeah, so Ed's back on these guys. We'll see. I'm curious about his lap time because again, we're talking about the 48s or so second bracket. I want to see what Ed runs this time by because he needs to be in the low 48s in my mind for this to be working.
48.5.
And yeah, it looks like a 48.12 I'm showing. Like I said, for Bud and Company, they still continue to stay out. I think this is the right call. And then you can see these guys, they came all right out together. And so, yeah, this is basically, that was the best case scenario for them. They wanted to get in, get out, all locked on together, and they have done exactly that.
You're going to catch Dean strapped here, so this could be a little bit added incentive. So right now, if I was Ed, I would pit here right now.
I think Ed's going to pit when the rest of these guys pit here. The 28, the 51, the 8, the 53, they'll all come in together. It's definitely a risk versus reward here. I say I don't think they're being as aggressive as they need to. Is a 41.34 for Ed that time around, because now the time we're going to compare to, Matt, is going to be Kevin Freeze. I said they haven't had a full up to speed lap yet, but I feel like it's going to be faster than the 48.30s. Just again, so look how close these guys are to each other, Matt. You can see not even quite a car length, and pretty much from front to back. But the gaps here, you can see it's almost half a car length between all these guys. They need to be locked on way tighter to each other to be able to make solid lap times, and they just don't have that right now. So, and I can tell you, Kevin, 48.13. So they were 0.2 quicker. And that's not going to cut it. This time by, it's a 48.52, half a second almost slower, Matt. Right now, what you're saying Ed should have pitted with them is definitely looking like it's going to come out to be true, because
I would pit now. This time, it's going to happen for him to
he's got to
pit. Yeah. He's got to pit.
But he's got to pit with all of these guys, though, is the problem. Yeah, so they have to all say, hey, we got to do it now.
Yep. Ed, you got to listen out there. You got a chance to win this. Got to pit with your teammates.
And the other thing is, well, let's say we'll hop back on. Let's see. Nope, they continue to go. And the other thing that's about to happen is Kevin Freeze and company, they're about to get some good draft. And oh my goodness, 47.74.
Yeah, they are cooking.
They are making speed right now, and they're about to pick up the draft as well of Zach Perry, Jason Bogart, and Eric Laurie. And they're going to be running probably a mid to low 47 lap here, because they're super fast right now, and two, they're getting a huge head of steam. Actually, let me see if I can pull up in time. No, I got Vince's logo in the way there. Apologies. I was going to try to see what the speeds were there. But yeah, they're definitely hauling the mail right now, Matt. This is probably, for one of these drivers, they're going to have a purple lap here, which will be the fastest lap of the race, I predict.
Yeah.
So right here, we are 11 to go. When the leaders cross, will be at 10 to go. And yeah, 47.54. Not quite the fastest laps of the race, but it was the fastest lap of Dustin and Mike Rimkus's race so far. Just due to all the draft and all the pace going on here. We'll jump to leaders here as they cross line. We are now at 10 to go here, Matt. Again, everybody's still got a pit. There's nobody that can pull off a strategy here to make it to the end. And right now, without any crazy things changing, it's basically a 6-car race from Kevin Freeze to Mike Rimkus.
37 seconds.
Sorry, 4-car. I said my timing and scoring is all. I said they just passed Jason Bogart, Zach Perry here. So basically the 25, the 14, the 81, the 79. That's going to be the battle for the win at the moment. Do you see the 79? He wants to slot in. He can't do it. The 17 there, Jason Bogart, he's going to pick up the draft here. So, unfortunately, until pit stops happen, Mike Rimkus is going to be stuck on that outside lane. You can tell he really wants to get in there, but he's not going to have the opportunity here. So, jump back to our leaders here. They come down the backstretch here. They'll be approaching 8 to go. Also, looking back at Gabe Butler and company, Bud Steele. They're still running low 48s, but again, right now the lap times, I mean, it's this pack right here. I mean, they're making laps basically. 47.60 the last time by. This time around, they had a little bit of, I wouldn't say traffic, but actually, yeah, 47.72. So literally only a tenth slower. So yeah, right now it's going to be up to these four drivers for the win of this race. Like I said, right now the 411 is a lap down, but the 25, the 14, the 81, and the 79, those will be the guys vying for the win here at the end of this race.
Does Ed know something that we don't know? Can he make it all the way on fuel?
No, there's just no way. The numbers, he would have to go over 30 laps.
Yeah,
I think he's just staying committed to his teammates here, and again, the problem is this. Look at the gaps, Matt. I mean, again, it's over half a car length between each car. You're never going to be running the lap times. So here's these guys. You see the gaps. Now we'll jump to Kevin, and just visually you can see how much tighter each of the cars are to each other. And even if you're not physically pushing, just being closer is going to make the difference. As Dooney mentioned, here comes Bud Steele, Gabe Butler, Seth Groover, Robert Hooligan. I saw Robert off in the grass a little bit, so may unfortunately be an unsafe entry for the 126 as these guys all hit their pit stall for their final scheduled stop with 7 to go, which means I think we're going to see these guys in this time probably.
Oh, Gabe got caught speeding again.
Oh, no, 88 as well. So Zach Perry, Jason Bogart. Oh, Zach Perry, you could tell from there, it was way too hot. Now Mike Rimkus, is he close? Yes, he is. Okay, so Mike's now in this thick of this thing too for the win. So we've got one set of drivers to pit. Here they are now for their final scheduled stop. So from here on, Matt, everybody's good to the end once the cycle completes. And like I said, we'll see where everybody else comes out, but unfortunately, it was just too many laps, not quick enough for Ed to be able to be a threat for this one. As the 53,
where's Kevin? They're just coming at a 10 to 3 right now. He's got to leave now. I mean, he's got to go. Now here they come. Yeah, they're about to start finish line right here very shortly.
Yeah, no, there's just no way they're gonna be up to speed. So yeah, here's Kevin Freeze, here's Mike Grimkiss. And yeah, before he even gets up to speed through 1 and 2, they're gone.
Blow right by him.
So right here is the lead change as Kevin Freeze going to take the point in that 25. And so yeah, so now we'll see if can any of these guys hold on to that draft. I don't think they'll be able to. I mean, you see the 53, he's going to try to tag on to these guys, but I just don't think they're close enough there, unfortunately. So what's going to happen, like I said now, Matt, I mean, with this thing staying clean and green to the end, it's between the 25, the 14, the 81, and the 79. And again, the 904 is the 81. Just the numbers were wrong at the time of the session. So again, apologies there. But yeah, so Kevin Freeze, Vicente Guerrero, Dustin Logston, and Mike Rimkiss. So now, again, I believe Dustin and Kevin are working together. Vince kind of usually does his own thing. And then same thing for Mike. Well, I think Mike is working with Tom Dixon, if I'm not mistaken, right? And Dean Wilkinson.
Correct.
So the best opportunity in my mind coming towards the end here is if Tom Dixon can jump out of line, get behind.
Dustin's going to go with him. I think Dustin will go with him.
It'll be interesting to see because it's one of those things where since all the teams are so broken up right now, there's no for sure thing. So again, also timing and scoring here. Got to jump to Ed DeBoer right now. He's still comfortably in 5th. He's got 10 seconds over Bud Steele, who is in 6th spot, and it's just he and Seth Groover. So right now, Ed DeBoer, he's safely a top 5 finisher no matter what. Should we go green to the end? And with that, Matt, we are down to 4 to go. So yeah, I mean, at some point, like I said, I think if the leaders here, again, they don't want to rock the boat. They don't want to have something happen before that white flag comes out. They want to settle this amongst themselves to try to win this race. And like I said, but again, not being too aggressive before you know that it's an official race.
If I was Dustin, Mike Rimkus, and well, I wouldn't make my move. Probably maybe about 2 or 3 to go. but we do have some lap traffic
Yeah,
coming
they're coming up to
that
that
might
76.
play
Yeah.
a factor here.
Yeah, coming to Zach Perry, Jason Bogart. And yeah, I think they will definitely get them before the finish of this race. I would expect those two will just jump to the top there, let the leaders on by. I really don't see them doing too much crazy. Because again, it'll be one of those things when they're in the situation that these leaders are in, they would hope to have the same thing. So right now, they're still safely far enough away. But what it could do, Matt, is again, even if they can't catch them or get to them before the finish, if at some point Kevin starts to pick up their draft, that's actually going to be a good friend of Kevin's because that's going to help his top speed and maybe allows or prevents Vince from making a move on him just because of he's going to start to steal some draft off of them. So let's hop on board here. Let's jump to the roof of Mike Rimkus. Let's watch to see if we see any moves start to be made. But right now, like I said, these guys I think they're just biding their time. We are 2 to go, Matt, here. So half a lap here, we'll get the white. And then from there, it will be an official race. So like I said, all the cars, it doesn't matter if it's this group, if it's further back, these guys got to keep it clean and green for this last half lap, and then it'll be a race to the checkered and see again, does anybody try to make a move to the end?
Look at Dustin, he's laying back a little bit.
Yep. Trying to build some momentum here, and they're going to I think they're going to get there just before the end of this race here, Matt. I think they will catch white flags out. So this is official here. Now it's going to be who can get there first. And yeah, there you go. There's respect being given, Matt. You just saw the 76-17. They jumped to the top side, let the leaders race it out here. So again, applaud them for that. Saying that's what you want to see. There goes Dustin.
They're gonna use that draft from the lap cars.
Yeah, they should steal some draft here.
Too. Yep. And we're going to go 3 wide. Well, maybe no.
Oh, poor Mike Rimkus again, kind of the odd man out here. So we'll see if he can do anything. You see Dustin Loxton, he's going to try to get alongside of Vince. Vince is going to try to push Kevin as hard as he can because he wants to try to hold that runner-up spot. It's going to be tight between them. Oh,
he's not going to do it.
It's going to be Kevin Freeze.
Yep.
Oh, contact in the back. They don't need the cars anywhere. But it's Kevin Freeze going to get the win. Dustin Logston was able to make that move just like you talked about, Matt, to bring it home in second. Vince there brings it home in third. And again, Mike Rimkus, he just, it seemed like every time he had an opportunity, just the cars were in the wrong place at the wrong time. He would kind of got hung out to dry. And then it's also going to be a good top 5 here as well for Ed DeBoer, who, again, he went for a strategy going a little long, didn't quite pan out. But again, it's just, I think some of these guys, just the dedication to their teams to say, hey, if we win or lose as a team, I want to make this gamble with you. And so it didn't pan out, but it was definitely worth a try. But in the end, though, it's going to be Kevin Freeze getting the win here tonight at Talladega.
That was a good try. I would have probably done the same thing, but try to use that side draft, and the 14 got a little bobble, and it kind of broke the 14 and 25 apart, and the 81 had the momentum, but it wasn't meant to be.
See Kevin celebrating there on the front stretch. Let's pull up those final results, Matt, before we get to our interviews. And it's going to be Kevin Freeze there. There's Dustin. He's going to celebrate along with him. They finished 1-2 tonight. Vincente Guerrero there again. He finishes in third. Mike Rimkus and Ed DeBoer are top 5s. And then, they had the one hiccup earlier, but they stuck it out there. Bud Steele, Seth Gruber still finished lead lap 7th and 8th. Or sorry, 6th and 7th. And then Dean Wilkinson there in 8th, the last car on the lead lap. And again, just pit road mistakes, man. We talk about that week in, week out, where you got to hit your marks. You can't make mistakes. And unfortunately, that one cycle, it caught a lot of drivers out, and that was definitely one of the crazier ones we've seen. So that's going to include Tom Dixon, Jason Bogart, Zach Perry, Nick Wing, Dude Conrad there, Gabe Butler, Jim Brooks, Robert Hooligan, Frank Ranger Jr., Quabi Brooks, Eric Laurie, and Ambrose Knebel, the early retirement. And that, Matt, that's the regular season, man. We're getting after tonight. It's playoff time over here on the Sunday series. So with that, we're gonna go hunt down some drivers. We're gonna go find this Vince fella real quick. All right, so let's go ahead and let's jump on over here. All right, we're going to pull up our third place finisher here. That is going to be Mr. Vicente Guerrero. And Vince, I feel like you're kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place there. I know you kind of roll solo a lot in these things, but
Yeah.
when there's not a lot of people to choose from, it kind of limits your options, I feel like, in the end of these things.
No, for sure. I mean, and it's my fault for putting myself in that situation. I mean, it's easy to just go jump in Discord and one of these guys. I work well with everybody, here in Area 51, but I choose to work, like just run solo. Sometimes Sundays I just want to go on a Sunday drive and just relax and just don't hear anybody in Discord and stuff like that. So yeah, I put myself in that spot.
Just relax, get lots of damage, and get it all repaired,
Right.
and so yeah, Matt and I are talking. So you didn't use the fast repair after that incident, right? You just went ahead and
No.
got it all fixed.
Yeah, I got it all fixed, and you
That's
know,
like that car looks really good. Other than like the driver's side door and rear fender a little bit. I mean,
yeah,
like
no, it felt good.
they found your front clip on the track, and I mean that's a yeah your crew.
I lost it.
I'm pretty sure the front clip was off on the broadcast. You have to go back and look, but yeah, so you might owe him a couple Budweisers after tonight.
Yeah, for sure. I give him a lot of Budweisers on me.
But no, man. I mean, again, like it was a really good run. I mean, I think the story of tonight though has got to be that pit stop cycle, the one before the last one, because I mean, it got anybody and everybody. I mean, it was so few of you that survived it. And I mean, is that one of those things as a driver you're like, what just happened? Because I mean, I think you were in the big pack and it was pretty chaotic there. Oh no, you were the first group that pitted, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, cause
It was like you and
I,
Dean and
yeah, I was racing hard early, so I wasted more fuel, and I think I was doing repairs. I believe. Yeah, no, I finished off repairs, so I was down kind of like a lap or so, on saving fuel, because I took all that repair. But um, yeah, I was like point 0.2 to the last time I when I stretched it out that one pit stop. I think people got caught speeding, but man, that was fun.
yeah, and honestly, I think you pitting the lap before, I mean, because you would have likely been in the thick of it otherwise. Because I mean, you'll go back and look, and I mean, there was I think at least 5 or 6 cars involved in that pit stop incident the lap after yours, and yeah, it was. And then even then, a smaller group, then I think like half of their group sped, and I don't know. I mean, did it feel any different from practice to the race, like just the on the brakes or anything like that, or is it just maybe just everybody just try to get a little extra that under the green, or I mean, what did you feel on your side?
I think the speed, I mean, you're carrying a lot of speed here in these Gen 4s into pit road, and if you didn't change any tires or something, they're gonna be even hotter. I don't know what was the track temp tonight, but yeah, I mean, you had to be real. I mean, the brakes are really good on the Gen 4s. Don't get me wrong. I mean, but you got to brake kind of early with these deals because we're carrying so much speed. Um, but man, that sucks for them that they got caught speeding.
Yeah, I mean, it was like I said, it was pretty crazy to watch there. And I say we're watching you get some more damage to your car post race there. It's like you guys are going for everything you could there at the end. Actually, a really good job of splitting there by Tom Dixon, I think, and Zach Perry, if I'm not mistaken, went right between you. But yeah, man, that's like I feel like we blinked and the regular season's over. We're starting the playoffs next week. You round up the regular season in second, only 2 points behind Gabe after the 7 races. So or 8 races, but 7 counted. And I mean, yeah, so 7 races for you, 6 top 5s. I mean, that's some really good numbers. I mean, now that you have playoffs, are you gonna still kind of just do the take it easy, enjoy yourself Sundays, or is it maybe time to? Are you gonna try to step it up a notch and find some buddies to tag team with?
I mean, I work well with the others, so it just depends who's up front, and I'll work with them. I'm just hoping that when I do make that, that decision to take the run or something, somebody will stick with me. But it is what it is. I mean, I'll race it like any other race here in Area 51. Like race it hard and race to see if we can win it. But yeah, we'll keep going.
Well, it was an awesome job tonight, man. And I say we had the logo on the track. You say you had the logo on the car, so you're able to get some more TV time for Vince service and repair. But man, as always, definitely want to give you the floor for any thanks and shouts for that podium tonight.
Gail, I want to thank you for broadcasting tonight. Can't wait to go watch this one back. Sure, it was fun. Early in that race there, we were racing hard. I want to thank Area 51 and all their admins for putting on this league. I want to thank all the fellow competitors here that compete, here. And I want to thank my family for letting me, enjoy some free time here and play.
All right, well, great job tonight, man. Go enjoy the family before the week starts, and look forward to seeing you coming up the rest of the playoffs, man.
Thanks, yeah.
Over here. All right, we're going to jump one car forward, and I mean, we talked about making the move at the right time, and that is going to be this guy here in that number 81 machine. We got the number fixed for next week there, Dustin. Apologies again for that one, but I mean, Matt and I were talking, it's like, okay, someone's gonna have to make a move at some point, just when and where, and obviously you don't want to bring anybody else into the mix with just a 4-car breakaway there, and so you kind of timed it to make the late charge there and able to grab second out of it. I mean, is that kind of the best you're hoping for, or were you hoping to maybe see if you could squeeze one on Kevin there at the end?
Yeah, no, I was hoping to try to squeeze one out on Kevin. I mean, anytime you can get a win over Kevin, it's a good day. So he's a solid racer. I tried to time it. I tried to use the lap cars there, get a little bit more draft. The 79 was behind pushing, and it just kind of, I had to pull back in line behind Vicente and get that run. And even Kevin said he thought that I had timed it perfectly. He's like, man, he's going to squeak another one out on me. And I just didn't have enough at the end, but it made for a really good, side by side finish there, which is always good. So it was really good working with Kevin and Vicente. I mean, we worked all night long, pit strategy and everything else, and I've logged a lot of laps with those guys. I'm super comfortable with them, so it was a good race all the way around.
Yeah, so Matt was pretty excited. So
Yeah.
he can't help but root for the nerd car
Nerds.
there.
Nerds, gotta stick with nerds, man.
Hey, man. I was going to talk to you after the race. Matt wants a Nerditudes paint scheme.
Oh, okay. Well, we'll see what Jeremy over at Nerd Wraps can't hook up there. So he does all our paints, man. I don't go anywhere else. The guy does an amazing job. So yeah, no, it's nerds got to stick with nerds for sure.
I got you, buddy. Once again, congratulations. I'm glad you're bringing in them and a whole bunch of other Nerditude guys on Tuesday. I greatly appreciate you guys doing that. And so, what was your thought process? I know you're going to try and use the lap cars as a pick, but do you think maybe ducking down a little bit early and kind of disrupting the draft of the car behind you, do you think maybe that might be probably a bad move or a good move?
So with the way that it looked in the mirror, it looked like the 79 wasn't closed up on me. So I wasn't getting full draft push compared to Kevin and Vicente. I mean, they were nuts to butts. So I had to at least try to pull a little bit more on there. I know that pulled the 79 in as well.
Right.
I mean, and right at the line, I mean, the 79 had pulled out of line and was trying to make it a 3 wide finish there for second and third. And if he would have stayed behind, we might have had enough for me to squeak out first and maybe him to beat out Vicente at the line. But I feel that if I wouldn't have pulled in to get that little bit more boost off of Vicente's draft, right, I don't think I would have had anything even for a run there coming out of 4.
Yeah, we're watching it back right now, and yeah, it would have been. I think that, like you said, I think that run from the 79 came just a teeny bit too late. But yeah, like you said, and it's one of those things where everybody's gonna try to get every little bit that they can. But yeah, I mean, it was like Matt said, it was a really, really good run. I'm guessing, obviously, for you, it's something I brought up to Vince too, and I'm sure we'll bring up with Kevin as well, is I think the story tonight is just the pit stop. I mean, that one green flag pit stop, it caught a lot of guys out, and of course some speeding on the last group. Obviously, some had an unsafe entry as well, and then of course just the pile up on entering pit road. I mean, I think you were just, I can't remember if you were just ahead of it or you were able to get down out of the way of it. I mean, but I mean, how was that from your point of view, just being in the thick of it?
Yeah, I was actually just ahead of it. So coming into pit, Gabe and I were side by side, and I was actually coming in a little hot. Was locking up, the front tires, and I could hear out of the left side. Gabe was doing the same thing, so I knew he was coming in hot, and I couldn't. I was just focusing on hitting my marks. I wasn't even looking at the mirror on what was going on. And next thing I knew that Gabe and I made contact, and I got it low down to 55, and then I looked up on my mirror and seen Gabe's rear end, and I'm like, oh man, that can't be good. That's not how you want to come down pit road. So I didn't know if it was something I did. So I keyed up and I apologized to Gabe. I said, hey, if that was something I did, hey, I apologize. And he goes, no. We were actually looking at that prior to post race interviews here. And I mean, there was just a lot of people came in super hot. And I think Gabe and I would have been fine even making door-to-door contact. I think him and I would have been woed down and would have been fine, but it was just everybody else piling in behind, I think is what ultimately kind of, sunk the nail in the coffin on that one.
I have one question for you. I know you run the Xfinity cars quite well, and these cars too. It seems like I have a really hard time braking with this car coming in the pit road. For me, it's very tough. How's this car compared to the Xfinity car coming on down pit road here?
Uh, I I think the Xfinity car seems like it brakes a little bit more. There's not as much wheel lockup. And I know a lot of that's brake bias as well, and I could adjust that a little bit more. But um, I I don't know. I have a lot of time in the Twisted Sister era cars, these Gen
Gotcha.
fours.
Yep.
It's I came up from NASCAR racing 2003 season. I've been sim racing 25 years, so this is
Woo!
literally what we've been racing. So I'm comfortable in these here, even coming in hot and being able to transmission brake it to woe it down. I feel that the Xfinity cars are a little bit more balanced when you try to do that. These have a tendency to, if they lock up, they have a tendency to really want to start sliding and really want to kick loose. But I mean, I so many years doing it, I'm accustomed to that feeling now. So
Well, sir, before we let you go, I say you've got a lot of awesome sponsors and such on that car. So I started already Googling your hood sponsor there because, I mean, it's Sunday night, so we got the Monday morning coming up. So, I mean, tell us about some of the sponsors and I say feel free to give some love here for your runner-up tonight.
oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's everybody on the car. Got to thank everybody that takes part in it. Brez Coffee Company. They're writing on the hood. They wrote on the hood for tonight. We have a coffee blend flavor there. It's called Sugary Sweet Joystick. So go take a look at it there. Use Super Nerd, save a little bit of scratch. But got to thank Martin Sports, iRacing, iFlag. I got to thank Race EPI. I got to thank Dusty Pete's, Gifts and Collectibles. So Oakley, Boomer Button Box, I Rock 93.5. There's a lot of people that support Nerditudes and Nerd Esports on there. So, and you would think that after doing a couple of these interviews, I'd be a little bit better at remembering each and every single one of them. But you know what? I still always, after the interviews, forget one. It never fails. But everybody on board, any of the nerd cars, man, we appreciate all the love and support that they give us. Absolutely.
It was a hell of a job tonight, man. Like Matt and I were saying, like we were watching, and Matt kind of keyed is like Dustin's gonna make the move, and he same thing, like said, spot on. It's like he's gonna be able to steal their draft, get a little extra on it, and yeah, like you said, you were right there. Couldn't quite get there, but it was definitely a hell of a try. So great job tonight, man. Getting that runner up, and definitely look forward to seeing more of you the rest of the season.
Absolutely. Appreciate you guys too for everything you do up in the booth. And then obviously Area 51, all the admins and drivers and everything else. It was a fun race. Long green flag runs. Man, I loved it.
All right, there, buddy. Nice job, and we'll see you Tuesday.
Sounds good. Appreciate you guys.
Yes, sir.
All right, Matt. That leaves us one fellow left to chat with. and that's going to be this fella Kevin Freeze getting the win here tonight at Talladega. Obviously, Kevin, the talk of the evening is going to be that first green flag pit stop where just everything happened. I mean, it was, and the thing is, like we were talking with Dustin, was it wasn't just you guys. I mean, it was the first group. Dean got busted speeding. Obviously, you guys had the big incident with so many cars coming on pit road, and then the third group with Quabi, Jim. Who else was in that group? Matt. I want to say Nick Wing was in there, and there was speeding penalties over there too. Yep. It just, that first green flag pit stop caught a bunch of guys, and even the second one caught a few as well. Again, I mean, was it just maybe just the outright pace in the draft versus what you guys maybe are able to do in practice, or was it just maybe just trying to get that little extra that you just, as competitors, you just can't help yourself?
I don't know. That second green flag pit stop, I thought I sent it in a little. I thought I was conservative, but it just felt like the inside closer to the pit wall just did not have any grip to slow down whatsoever. So maybe it was a little bit of that, but I don't know. All I know is I pulled down, was taking it nice and easy, and all of a sudden there were cars flying by me. So I got pretty lucky there, just missing it, and got lucky with also not getting a penalty with going as close to the grass as I did. I dipped 2 tires into the grass, and luckily it didn't. For some reason, it didn't give me any penalty. I think it officiates it sort of like how it does with the road stuff, where if you put all 4 off, you get popped for a penalty. But man, that was interesting. Thank God we all, us 4, I think it was 4 of us, escaped that without getting too much damage or losing the race, because we were having a really good run up there with Dustin was having a great run. Thank God he didn't get caught up, and then Vicente was lucky enough to make it through as well.
Yeah, and you mentioned so you guys just having a good time. I mean, it just seemed like, especially of course before the pit stop cycle, I mean, it just seemed like people are just having fun tonight. I mean, there's a couple times, obviously you probably have some more insider info than we do, but Gabe would basically run the third lane, you guys would get to the front, and then we see him drop to the apron at some point, and then basically just go do it again. I mean, it just looked like you guys are just having fun being racy. I mean, there was definitely a lot of moves being made and stuff, but yeah, it just seemed like there was, seemed like there's a lot of fun tonight.
Fun. Yeah, I think because he's like, I'm going to the back. I'm like, all right, well, see you in a little bit. And then a little bit was like 2 laps, and then he's to my outside. So I'm like, well, I guess he wasn't going to hang out. He just wanted to go to the back, check things out, and drive back to the front. But yeah, sometimes we can't help ourselves. Just got to drive right back up there.
Yeah, I mean, and we saw all 3 lines were working really well. We saw you, like I said, you and Dustin and Kevin, Eric, like a lot of you guys were, or Gabe and Eric, sorry. I know you're already there. You guys were working the third lane. Of course, Seth can't avoid the third lane if it's there.
He cannot help himself.
And so we saw you guys were definitely the ones that I feel like used it the most. And then there's obviously the one incident there that brought the one yellow out, and we were kind of joking where it's like you have so much track, but everybody still finds a way to kind of squeeze each other in on the lanes there, where it's like you might as well be racing Daytona as tight as you were with each other there. Is that just because that's, you got to do that for the pace? Otherwise that third lane is just too high and you're just too much extra distance to cover, or maybe just us being our typical aggressive selves?
So the lower you can get that middle lane down towards the bottom, the more side draft it puts onto them, and then they also have to run closer to the bottom, so it puts more onto the inside lane. So it just helps you not stall out, because you lose quite a bit in the corners. It's just hard to keep the momentum up on the outside, especially in these cars, because if you just get if you have to lift a little bit, these ones take a little bit more to recover compared to some of the other cars. So you're just trying to keep the momentum up. So you just got to stay down on their door, and because Dean came out over the mic, and he was like, "Oh, my bad." I'm like, no, that's like just tight racing. That stuff's it's bound to happen when you're running that close. There's not much margin for error by anybody at all. So it just takes one little slip up or me coming down just that tiny little bit extra. And because you're trying to just push it just a little bit more every lap, just see if the people to your inside or see if they're noticing it. Just sometimes you just get a little too greedy. And I think that's what happened there.
Us drivers are never too greedy, Kevin. I don't know what you're talking about.
No, never at all.
But man, like, yeah, it was a lot of fun watching. Like I said, and then it was just trying to figure out the strategy at the end, and like when to pin. And actually, that's the other thing too, was we were debating on if there was any thought when you started catching that last group of lap cars that had Dude in there, as well as, like I said, I think it was Jim and Quabi and Nick. Were there any thoughts about just kind of staying with them, or was that one of those like, hey, we're going to lose time. We know we're good to the end. We're not going to lose the lead lap. Let's get it done now and avoid avoid that any additional risk with them trying to like fight us to stay on the lead lap, or I mean, how are you kind of planning that and strategizing that?
It was all risk. Yeah, it was all just risk. We were trying to decide right before them when we were all going as a group. I mean, we were running really well together. We had more to lose by trying to separate ourselves and do stupid things, which I think we all will do occasionally, and we're just trying to figure it out. And then once we caught them, it was a no-brainer for us. Like, just go in, get a nice clean in out, and then get back out there and continue to do it, because you'll lose time, and then God forbid something does happen in front of you and you can't avoid it, then you just basically kissed away your race for basically no reason, when you could just control what you can, stay in line, go in, get nice clean in out, get back out there.
Now, I say, it looked like the strategy worked to perfection tonight, sir. So, hell of a job. Like I said, you were one of the few that kept it clean from start to finish on the pit stop cycles, and as I said, then able to hold off the charge there from Dustin at the end. So great job tonight.
Yeah.
Definitely, as always, got to give you the floor. Any thanks and shouts for that win tonight?
Gotta thank the boys. Gotta thank Vicente for giving me the push there. I told him, I'm like, if he pulled out a line, I'm not even trying to block it. I was just happy with the run. Also, good job by Dustin timing that run. If he had a little bit more and just a tiny bit more push, he gets us. But with the way he was closing in with how big his run was, I thought for sure that the race was his. Just he came up like a rocket through the tri-oval. Thank you to you guys for putting on the broadcast. Thanks to the boys, Team Bunaka, for another strong race. Thank you to the drivers for a clean race. And I hope everybody enjoyed tonight.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. So I think Matt and I definitely had fun, and say the pit stop cycle, definitely there's a lot of people chiming in on YouTube.
Was a lot to break down on that one.
Yeah.
Holy cow.
Yeah, I think we had about 4 people on the YouTube chat all at the same time with that pit stop cycle. It's like, what is happening? And it was,
my God.
It was wild.
3 cars flew by. I'm pulling in nice and easy, and all of a sudden I'm like, oh crap, they're hauling it coming towards me. So yeah, it was a fun race. It definitely made it interesting on that stretch.
Yeah, great job though tonight, man. Go enjoy this one, and look forward to seeing you more over the course of the finishing up the season, man.
Yeah, thank you. Hope you guys have a good night.
You too, man. All right, Matt, that is our race winner, that Mr. Kevin Freeze fella, getting the win here tonight at Talladega. And yeah, I mean, again, you kind of chime in on it week in, week out. Pit stops. They got to get their entry. They got to hit their stalls. They got to nail the exits. And we saw entry was definitely the Achilles heel for a bunch of them tonight.
I do praise it every week, do I?
I mean, there's the reason for it.
There's a reason why I praise it, because it's the key to winning. I see Kevin and them, execute it every time. And this time, I guess Gabe had a real tough time this week, and it is what it is. It's part of racing. I have trouble myself trying to break with these cars. It's tough, and it broke the whole field pretty much.
Yeah, it completely changed the complexion of that race. Like I said, it broke the field up, and yeah, then it was just those little couple of packs, and then yeah, and like I said, the leaders were hoping it stayed clean and green, and that's exactly what it did, and they were able to settle it amongst themselves at the end. Like we mentioned, Ed DeBoer, he took a gamble. He wanted to stay with his teammates. Said, hey, maybe we can do something different, make something happen. Just unfortunately, the pace wasn't there for that pack either. So they said, you never know. I say that could have been the winning move if everything had lined up correctly. So definitely applaud him for trying to work with his teammates there as well. So. But yeah, Matt, that's their last final regular season race for here on Sunday nights. We're going to be hitting the 4-race playoff with our top 12 drivers. And then we're starting up another series here on Tuesday night. You'll be behind the wheel and working the admin controls over there as well. Again, you and Craig have been doing really, really hard work over there. I'm really excited to be calling that one. Won't have Andrew Wood for the first race, but we'll have him most of the time in the booth as well. And yeah, it's gonna be a lot of fun seeing you guys run the Area 51 Indy Oval Series.
Trust me, it's not easy work. It's pretty tough. So I'm kind of glad this is gonna all pay off.
Nah, it's gonna be a great time. So yeah, so for those that watch, as always, thank you all so much for watching, supporting us here at Green White Checkered TV with the Area 51 Racing League. And yeah, we're back to 3 nights a week for a little bit of time here before the holidays. So Tuesday night, if you want open wheel racing, if you want to go watch some great stuff, they'll be at Homestead Tuesday night, 135 laps. So definitely check it out over there. We'll be here on Green White Checkered TV. I'll be calling the shots. Not with Andrew Wood this time, but coming up soon we'll have him. He's knows all the stuff. So Matt, as always, man, it's fun doing these with you. Appreciate all your dedication and hard work. And yeah, good luck on Tuesday, man.
Yeah. I'm gonna need a lot of luck, but it's gonna be a tough field.
Yeah, you've got some stout talents in there, and I'm looking forward to it. So again, everybody watching, thank you all so much for watching, for supporting us here at Green White Checkered TV. Hope you have a wonderful evening, and of course, as always, take care, stay safe, have a good night. We'll see you on Tuesday.